It was here, amidst the splendor and the daily rituals of the court. I remember what happened in this small village when I was a young apprentice to Okafor, the kingdom's esteemed herbalist. Known for his wisdom in the healing arts, Okafor's role was vital to the court, and my own life was intertwined with the palace's rhythms. During this period, I witnessed the trials of Princess Amora, whose misfortune lay not in her appearance but in a curse that marred her every interaction. Princess Amora, a very beautiful, plumpy, and kind lady, her story was not just of beauty and grace but of a curse that overshadowed her every step. The palace was a marvel of architectural splendor. Gardens bloomed with vibrant flowers year-round, and the halls were adorned with rich tapestries in hues of gold and crimson. Despite the beauty surrounding her, a deep sorrow seemed to linger in the heart of Princess Amora. She was renowned for her kindness and beauty, yet she was cursed with a breath so foul that even the bravest men avoided her presence. This affliction had begun in her childhood. The royal family, desperate for a cure, had sought the help of countless healers and sages, both from within the kingdom and beyond its borders. Rumor spoke of a vengeful spirit who had cursed Amora as retribution for a past grievance with the royal family. Despite their best efforts, no remedy could lift the curse, and Amora was left to face her tragic fate alone, until one day. The Grand Festival, a remarkable festival, held every 10 years, was a beacon of hope for the princess as she was ripped for marriage. It was an extravagant affair, with colorful banners fluttering in the breeze and exotic foods laid out in elaborate displays. The palace grounds were alive with music and laughter, a sharp contrast to the underlying tension surrounding Princess Amora. The festival was not only a display of the kingdom's wealth but also a chance for Amora to find someone who could see beyond her curse and appreciate her for who she was. On that night, a day before the festival, the palace buzzed with excitement as royalties and various successful merchants arrived at the kingdom ahead of time. The princess remained in her room, overwhelmed with mixture of sadness and joy, lost in thought, praying for a miracle to happen over her bad breath. Then a spirit whispered to her ears that she could only be healed if she could find true love among the men who would be present to the festival. And then the morning of the festival dawned bright and lively, filled with the aromas of exotic dishes prepared from every corner of the kingdom, and the halls were filled with the sound of lively music and cheerful laughter. More guests arrived in their finest attire, their faces lit with anticipation and curiosity. As Princess Amora was descending the grand staircase in her deep shimmering emerald gown, her hair was braided with golden threads, she was descending with grace and poise. Whispers of admiration followed her. Yet, the moment she reached the floor, the atmosphere thickened with tension. Her presence, once a source of awe, now elicited discomfort and barely concealed mockery. From my vantage point in the shadows of a corridor, I watched as the suitors gathered, their faces reflecting a mix of excitement and apprehension. I stood in a shadowed alcove, hidden but able to witness the unfolding scenes. The first to approach was Lord Jeff, a tall man with a reputation for arrogance. He greeted Amora with a grand flourish, but as he drew near, his expression changed from polite interest to subtle discomfort. He recoiled slightly, his face contorting as he mumbled an excuse about urgent business and quickly withdrew. His face, initially confident, soon revealed his discomfort. He quickly excused himself, citing urgent matters elsewhere. Next was Uche, Lady Nmo's son, Lady Nmo known for her sharp tongue. As expected, her insincere smile and audible comments about the cause of bad breath was unbearable. After passing a greeting to the princess, her words laced with thinly veiled disdain. As she turned away, her son could be heard muttering about the cause of bad breath, as well, and Nmo's laughter, though light, carried a cruel edge that was hard to ignore. Following them was the proud knight, Sir Ikena. He approached with an air of confidence, but as he caught a whiff of Amora's breath, his bravado faltered. I must attend to my duties, he stammered, retreating quickly. His discomfort was evident, and Princess Amora's face fell further. Then came the wealthy merchant, who tried to mask his distaste with feigned politeness. He asked Amora about her interest but struggled to maintain his composure. Surely there must be a remedy, he suggested awkwardly, before excusing himself with a half-hearted smile. Another suitor was Prince Hugo, a charming figure with a reputation for his charisma. He approached with a smile but soon faltered, his expression shifting from interest to aversion. "It's unfortunate," he said, glancing away, "but I have a prior engagement." He quickly departed, leaving Amora feeling more alone than ever. The same sad pattern continued with each new suitor. Some approached with forced smiles, trying to mask their revulsion, while others openly displayed their disdain. Each interaction was a reminder of Amora's curse, and the tension in the air became almost suffocating. The whispers of pity and mockery grew louder, echoing around the grand hall. With every rejection, Princess Amora's once bright eyes dimmed a little more, reflecting her deepening sorrow and isolation. At the high table, King Amodi sat with a stoic expression, but his eyes betrayed the anguish he felt for his daughter. He wanted to protect her, to shield her from the harsh judgment of the court, yet he felt powerless to change her fate. Queen Ugonma, seated beside him, struggled to conceal her own heartbreak. She reached out to comfort Amora, but her attempts were often met with silence, as her daughter's spirit faded with each passing moment. The laughter of the courtiers cut deeply, particularly from a group of envious young ladies who twisted their admiration into something cruel. They whispered behind their hands, pretending to be concerned while secretly relishing Amora's misfortune. Their laughter rang in the air like daggers, deepening the wounds that already marked the princess's heart. The royal family's efforts to shield her only highlighted her plight, making her feel more alone in a crowd that should have celebrated her. As I observed from my corner, I felt the weight of her sorrow pressing down on me. Each glance at Amora's downturned face filled me with a sense of helplessness. She was a princess surrounded by grandeur, yet trapped in a prison of isolation and despair. The joyous atmosphere of the festival felt like a mockery of her pain, and I couldn't help but wish for a way to break through the darkness that enveloped her. In that moment, I realized how much she longed for connection and acceptance. My heart ached for her, knowing that despite her beauty and kindness, she faced a world that refused to see her true self. The court's cruel laughter and the sharp whispers formed an invisible wall around her, isolating her in her suffering. I could only hope that one day, someone would see through the curse and embrace her for who she truly was. Amora was seen shedding tears that day, the glittering festival turning into a painful reminder of her isolation. Just as despair threatened to engulf her, an unexpected figure emerged. Okoro, a humble merchant. He approached Amora without pretense, expressing genuine kindness that seemed to slice through the heaviness in the air. "May I join you?" he asked, his voice steady and warm. As he greeted her, the atmosphere shifted. Instead of focusing on her curse, he spoke of his travels, sharing stories of simple joys and laughter. As the evening wore on, it became clear that Okoro was different from the other suitors. He stayed close to Amora, his genuine interest shining through. Their connection was palpable, and her joy became infectious. Guests who had previously whispered and mocked began to take notice of their bond. But the court's skepticism lingered like a dark cloud. Whispers of doubt spread quickly. "He's just a merchant," some murmured. "What could he possibly offer a princess?" Yet, undeterred by the murmurings, Okoro continued to engage with Amora. His unwavering support was a lifeline in her stormy sea of sorrow. In the days that followed, Okoro's presence became a welcome change in the royal court. The court's skepticism persisted, but his humility and kindness began to win over not only Amora but also her parents. The king and his queen slowly recognized the genuine love blossoming between their daughter and the merchant. Yet, shadows loomed. As rumors of war reached the kingdom, there were tensions all over the kingdom. The rival kingdoms' maneuvers on the borders sent waves of panic through the palace. The court was thrust into turmoil, and discussions of alliances and security took precedence over the blossoming romance. Amora's heart sank as she watched her parents become increasingly consumed by the threat of conflict. She feared that the light she had found in Okoro might flicker out before it truly began. Then came a fateful day when news arrived. Prince Hugo, now an ally of the rival kingdom, sought a strategic marriage to strengthen his power. The court buzzed with speculation, and the whispers turned into sharp daggers aimed at Amora and Okoro. "You cannot expect to hold on to him," Lady Mo's voice rang out, filled with venom. "The kingdom needs alliances, not a merchant's son." As tensions mounted, Amora faced the possibility of losing her chance at love. Her heart raced with fear and determination. In a desperate plea, she approached Okoro. "You must understand, they will try to separate us. But I believe in what we have." He grasped her hands firmly, his eyes filled with resolve. "Then let us prove them wrong. Together, we can face whatever comes." As the festival drew to a close, the threat of war loomed ever closer. Would their love endure the trials ahead? Would Princess Amora find the courage to defy the court and embrace her destiny with Okoro? The answers lay hidden in the shadows, waiting to unfold.